Hi there, my name is Rob Nellis, and I'm a founding partner of Buyers+Cellars Wine Preparers, as well as one of the curation teams since day one. I've also been an educator in wine for about 25 years and been a sommelier in restaurants for over 20. I'm kind of uniquely positioned to understand the trials and travails of selling wine to clients, as well as getting your margins that are necessary out of your wine list. I'd like to talk about the Quinta de Pedra Alta's Pedra Tinto today, one of our best price to quality wines, and really exciting new winery in the Douro region. They've already achieved great critical success with their base level wine, this Pedra Tinto, getting a 97 from Decanter World Wine Awards, which is absolutely shocking. This is one of the first wines put out by the winery. They're kind of sitting on hallowed ground. This is the only winery to have three Marcos Pombalinos. If anybody knows port wines, these were stone markers that were demarcated by the Marquis of Pombal back in the 1760s. And so this was given to wineries that, or sorry, to vineyards that were making wines of exceeding quality and had the perfect terroir for crafting the red wines from the region. This is not necessarily indicative of quality. The winemaking plays a huge part, but you know that you're starting with great land. Part of this is that it's sitting on a bed of schist. Not all of the Douro Valley is sitting on schist like this, so you get a real great mineral element to the wines. And it's very infertile soils, very poor soils with great drainage. And what this means is that the vines really have to dig deep, and most of the vines are digging 2 meters deep, which is a lot deeper than a lot of the other regions you'll see around the world. These are stressed vines from really hot days. This is dry farming, so there's no irrigation. And some of the terraces, so these are planted on steep terraces, some of the terraces will only have one row of vines. And you have to bring in local workers that know how to work with these. The other interesting thing is that the winery uses foot trod pressing. So, in other words, they bring the grapes and, like old school, they put them in granite lagaresh and the team walks back and forth, and you get this very gentle pressing of the grapes compared to machine presses. And this means that you don't break the pips inside. So, you hopefully don't get any astringency from the pips. The other thing is they use wild ferments, so indigenous yeast from the air. This can be rife with difficulties and some wine flaws, but it's very clean cellar and they're on top of it. And their wines are pure and fresh. The Tinto is a combination of four of the big grapes of the region. So, Tariga Franca, Tinta Roriz, Susau, as well as Tariga Nacional. Tariga Nacional is the beast. It's the meat and potatoes, for lack of a better term, of the Douro Valley. It's the largest of the grapes. It gives the big structure to the wine. This particular vintage is a little bit more lithe and elegant than some of the other vintages. It's drinking beautifully right now, but with that tannic structure and the really great acidity, it's going to hang in there for decades if you wanted it to. This is a great collector wine as well, a great way to start your cellar in that the wine is showing well now, but is going to gain complexity and quality and give you some of those tertiary notes as you move along. Great wine for a steak or cassoulet, but it is lithe and lively enough on the palate that you can actually just enjoy it with a little light chill on its own. And you can even pair it with mussels. I've had it recently with some mussels and a spicy chili sauce, and it was absolutely fantastic. There's a couple of young winemakers that are doing the work here. Matt Gant from Australia comes in at harvest time and helps João Pires, who sort of manages the vineyard, as well as the head winemaker for this. And Matt brings an energy and excitement and a little bit of innovation to Zhao's kind of classic style of winemaking. And the combination of the two has been able to work seamlessly together to craft outstanding wines. Their whites are also killer. but this Pedra Tinto is just over delivering with juicy fruit as well as structure. It's not going to be the best red of their portfolio, but it is consistently great value. The other thing I want to talk a little bit about is Douro region in general. For the longest time, the wines that were coming out of the Douro, bigger was better. At higher alcohol levels, you wanted as much volume as you could get because the Douro region wasn't commanding the prices. And then the wines that were coming out were of mediocre quality, or they were extremely expensive. The other thing that was happening in the Douro Valley is because port commanded such huge prices, all the finest vineyard sites were given over to port wine. That's very slowly changing, and now the still wines and the table wines coming out of the region are a big force to be reckoned with. They're still given great value right now, but in the next 10 to 15 years, uh, you're going to see prices rise. The economy of Portugal is looking fantastic lately, and there's been a lot of investment in the region. Not just the Brits, though they're still there as always. And the port wines, while still being intensely popular, are less of a focus for the wineries. The Quinta de Pedra Alta makes some incredible ports, as well as the best white port I've ever tried. When we do bring that in, keep your eyes peeled for it. The Quinta de Pedra Alta Tinto is one of those wines that we think is going to work perfectly for your wine list because it gives you that ripe fruit that you're looking for people that like things like Shiraz or California Cab. But it's also going to give you structure for those old world fans that are into things like Bordeaux or Spanish wines. The work that Portugal has done lately of promoting their white wines has made it so that people recognize recognize still wines, and that there's an industry outside of just port. And these red wines that are still delivering a fantastic value are getting more and more acclaim from critics who've mostly ignored the region other than the big houses for the longest time. If you are interested at all, the Quinta de Pedra Alta has a fantastic website that tells a little bit about the story of the winery, and we have a little bit of information on our website. Thanks very much and have a fantastic day. Happy sipping. Cheers.